The message came in at the worst possible moment. I was halfway through a meeting, my phone face down on the table, trying to stay focused while everything around me blurred into background noise. Then it buzzed once. Then again. Then a third time, longer this time, like it refused to be ignored. Something about it felt urgent. When I finally flipped the phone over, my chest tightened instantly. Reach home ASAP wherever you are. It was from my neighbor. No greeting. No explanation. Just that one line sitting there like a warning I didn't understand yet. A strange feeling crept in. Not panic. Not yet. Something colder. Something that made my instincts sharpen before my mind could catch up. I excused myself without thinking, grabbing my keys as I stepped out. The hallway felt too quiet, the kind of silence that presses in on you instead of calming you down. I called my neighbor. No answer. I called again. Straight to voicemail. That's when the unease turned into something heavier. I tried calling home next. My hands moved faster now, my thoughts racing ahead of me. The phone rang longer than usual. No answer. I tried again. Nothing. Every second without a response made the message feel more serious, more real. I got into my car, barely remembering how I got there, and started driving. The road blurred past me, every red light feeling like an obstacle, every delay feeding the growing tension inside my chest. What could be so urgent that he sent that message and then disappeared? My mind started filling in the gaps with possibilities I didn't want to consider. A break-in. An accident. Something worse. Each thought darker than the last. Halfway home, my phone buzzed again. Another message. This time, it wasn't from my neighbor. It was from an unknown number. It said I should hurry. That I was already too late. My grip on the steering wheel tightened as a chill ran down my spine. That message wasn't concern. It was a warning. Or maybe something worse. When I finally turned onto my street, something felt wrong immediately. Not obvious at first, but enough to make my instincts flare. There were more cars than usual. Parked along the curb. People standing outside. Watching. My heart started pounding harder as I pulled up in front of my house. The front door was open. And whatever was waiting inside, I already knew one thing. My life wasn't going to be the same after this. The engine shut off, but I didn't move. For a second, I just sat there, staring at the open front door like it was daring me to step inside. The people outside weren't talking. They were watching. Quiet, tense, like they already knew something I didn't. That feeling hit again. Cold. Sharp. Something was very wrong. I stepped out of the car, every movement slower now, controlled, like my body was trying to delay what my mind wasn't ready to face. My eyes scanned the crowd, searching for my neighbor. He wasn't there. That made everything worse. A woman from across the street avoided my gaze. Another man looked at me, then quickly looked away. No one said anything. No one tried to stop me. That silence followed me all the way to the door. As I got closer, I noticed something else. The lock wasn't broken. No signs of forced entry, which meant whoever was inside either had a key or didn't need one. My heartbeat climbed as I stepped over the threshold. The house was too quiet. Not empty quiet. Something else. Like the air itself was holding on to whatever had just happened. The kind of silence that feels heavy, like it has weight. My eyes moved quickly, taking everything in. The living room looked untouched. Furniture in place. Nothing overturned. No obvious chaos. For a brief moment, confusion pushed through the fear. Had this all been some kind of mistake? Then I saw it. A glass on the floor near the hallway. Shattered. Not just dropped. Thrown. My pulse spiked again. I moved further inside, each step careful, listening for anything. A sound. A movement. Anything that would explain what was going on. Then I heard it. A faint noise. Coming from upstairs. I froze. It wasn't loud, but it was there. A dull, uneven sound. Like something shifting. Or someone. Every instinct told me to stop, to call for help, to not go up there alone. But something stronger pushed me forward. I couldn't wait. Not when this was my home. Not when something was inside it. I moved toward the stairs, my breathing steady but tight, every sense focused. The sound came again, clearer now. Someone was definitely up there. Halfway up the stairs, my phone buzzed again. I almost ignored it, but something made me look. It was the unknown number. Another message. It said I should not go upstairs, that I wouldn't like what I find. My chest tightened as I stared at the screen. Then slowly, I lifted my head toward the top of the stairs. The noise stopped. Complete silence. Like whoever was up there knew I had arrived. And was waiting. The silence upstairs felt deliberate. Not empty. Not random. Controlled. Like someone had been making noise on purpose, just enough to pull me in, then stopped the moment I got close enough. My grip tightened on the railing as I took another step up. Every instinct screamed that I was walking into something planned. But turning back was no longer an option. I reached the top of the stairs and paused, listening carefully. Nothing. No footsteps. No movement. Just that same heavy stillness pressing against my ears. The hallway stretched ahead, dim even in daylight. My bedroom door was slightly open. The guest room was closed. The bathroom light was on, casting a faint glow across the floor. Something about the scene felt staged. Too still. Too perfect. I moved forward, slow and deliberate, eyes scanning every detail. The closer I got to my bedroom, the stronger the feeling became. Like something inside was waiting for me specifically. Then I noticed it. The floor. Faint marks. Drag marks. They started near the bathroom and led straight into my bedroom. My chest tightened. I followed them, each step heavier than the last. When I reached the door, I pushed it open slowly. And froze. The room looked almost normal at first glance. Bed made. Curtains half drawn. Nothing obviously destroyed. But then my eyes adjusted. And everything changed. Drawers were open. Not messy. Not ransacked. Searched. Every single one. Clothes pulled out, then shoved back in. Boxes opened and left in place. Like someone had been looking for something very specific. Not stealing. Hunting. A cold realization settled in. This wasn't a break-in. This was targeted. My heart pounded as I stepped further inside, scanning for what could be missing. Documents. Devices. Anything important. But before I could check, something else caught my attention. The mirror. It had been moved slightly off-center. I stared at it, a strange feeling creeping in. Then I saw it. A smudge. No. A mark. On the surface. I stepped closer, my reflection shifting as I moved. The mark wasn't random. It was drawn. A single word traced faintly, like someone didn't want it to be obvious unless you were close enough. My breath slowed as I focused. The word was my name, written from the inside. Not on the surface facing me, but behind it. My stomach dropped. That wasn't possible. Unless the mirror had been removed. Or opened. A sharp realization hit me as I reached out, my fingers brushing the edge of the frame. This wasn't just a room anymore. It was hiding something. And whatever was behind that mirror had been left there for me to find. Or for me to regret finding at all. My fingers stayed on the edge of the mirror, but I didn't move it right away. Something about the situation felt too precise. The message. The open door. The noise upstairs. The drag marks. And now this. It was all leading here. Like I was being guided step by step. A slow breath filled my chest as I finally pulled the mirror slightly forward. It shifted easier than it should have. Behind it, a narrow hollow space revealed itself, carved into the wall. Not large, but deep enough to hide something intentionally. And something was there. A small black box. My pulse spiked. I reached in and pulled it out, the weight heavier than expected. Not light. Not empty. Whatever was inside mattered. The moment I opened it, everything changed. Photos. Stacks of them. But not random. They were all of me. Different days. Different times. Some outside the house. Some inside. Angles I didn't recognize. Moments I didn't remember being watched. My chest tightened as I flipped through them faster. Someone had been following me. Tracking me. For a long time. And then I saw something that made my blood run cold. Some photos weren't taken by a stranger. They were taken inside this house. From places no outsider could access. Which meant one thing. This wasn't just stalking. This was someone who had been inside my life. Close. Trusted. The realization hit harder than anything else so far. But before I could process it, another item inside the box caught my attention. A flash drive. Plain. Unmarked. My hand hesitated for a second before picking it up. Every instinct told me whatever was on it would answer everything. Or make it worse. I moved quickly to my laptop, plugging it in without overthinking. The screen flickered as files loaded. Dozens of videos. All labeled by date. Organized. Careful. Controlled. My chest felt tight as I clicked the first one. The video opened. And instantly, I knew this wasn't random footage. It was my living room. Recorded from an angle that shouldn't exist. I watched as the door opened in the footage. And someone walked in. Not breaking in. Walking in. Like they belonged there. My breath caught as I leaned closer to the screen. The face came into view. Clear. Familiar. Someone I knew. Someone I would never have suspected. The kind of betrayal that doesn't just hurt. It rewrites everything. My hand slowly moved away from the keyboard as the realization settled in. This wasn't about a stranger. This wasn't even about someone distant. This was personal. Deeply personal. And just as that truth began to take shape, another notification appeared on my screen. A live camera feed. From inside my house. Active. Right now. Which meant one thing. Whoever had been watching me all this time was still here. The live feed flickered on my screen, grainy at first, then sharpening into something far too clear. My living room. Empty at a glance. But not empty. The angle was wrong. Lower than expected, slightly tilted, like the camera had been hidden in something small. Something placed deliberately to avoid attention. My eyes scanned every corner of the frame, searching for movement. Nothing. Then a shadow shifted. Barely noticeable, near the edge of the hallway. My pulse slammed harder. Someone was there. Not upstairs. Not outside. Inside. Right now. I closed the laptop slowly, forcing myself to stay quiet, to not give away that I knew. Every instinct told me to get out, to run, to call for help. But something stronger held me in place. I needed to see them. I needed to know who had done all of this. Moving carefully, I stepped back into the hallway, each movement controlled, silent. The house felt different now. Not just invaded. Occupied. I reached the top of the stairs and paused, listening again. That same heavy silence returned, but now it felt alive. Like it was hiding something just out of reach. Then I heard it. A soft step. Below. My grip tightened along the wall as I leaned slightly, just enough to see down into the living room without exposing myself. And there it was. Movement. A figure crossing slowly from one side to the other. Not rushing. Not panicked. Calm. Like they had all the time in the world. A chill ran through me. This wasn't someone afraid of being caught. This was someone confident they wouldn't be. I moved down one step, then another, keeping my breathing steady, my eyes locked on the space below. The figure disappeared behind the wall for a second, then reappeared. Closer now. And just as the face began to come into view, my phone buzzed in my hand. Loud. Sharp. Breaking the silence. The figure froze instantly. So did I. For a split second, everything stopped. Then the figure turned. Fast. Directly toward the stairs. Toward me. My heart dropped as our eyes met. Recognition hit at the exact same time. Not a stranger. Not someone distant. Someone who knew me. Someone who wasn't supposed to be here like this. The kind of person you never expect to see standing in your house like an intruder. Their expression didn't show fear. It showed something else. Something calculated. Like this moment had always been part of the plan. Before I could react, they spoke. Calm. Controlled. They said I wasn't supposed to be home yet. And in that moment, everything became clear. I hadn't interrupted anything. I had walked straight into it. The distance between us felt smaller than it was. Every second stretched, heavy with the weight of recognition. I knew that face. Not just in passing, not just as someone familiar. Someone trusted. That was the part that made it worse. They took a slow step forward, not aggressive, not rushed. Controlled. Like they were still deciding how this would play out. My mind raced, trying to connect everything at once. The hidden cameras. The photos. The box behind the mirror. The message from my neighbor. The unknown number. This wasn't random. This wasn't even impulsive. This was planned in layers. And somehow, they were standing right in the middle of it. I forced myself to stay still, not giving away how fast my thoughts were moving. If they felt in control, I needed to keep it that way. At least for now. They spoke again, voice steady, almost casual. Said I should not have come back early. Not concern. Not surprise. Disappointment. Like I had ruined something important. That single tone shifted everything. I wasn't dealing with panic or desperation. I was dealing with someone who believed they were still ahead. My eyes moved subtly around the room, searching for anything I could use, any sign of what they had already done or were about to do. That's when I noticed the bag near the door. Half open. Inside, I could see items from my house. Documents. A device. Not random valuables. Specific things. The same pattern as upstairs. They weren't stealing. They were collecting. My chest tightened again as another realization formed. Whatever they were building, it involved me. Every piece. Every detail. Then my phone buzzed again in my hand. Another message from the unknown number. I didn't look down, but I didn't need to. I already knew. They were the ones sending them. Controlling both sides. Creating fear. Guiding my reactions. Everything lined up too perfectly now. Their eyes flicked briefly toward my phone, then back to me. A small shift. But enough. They knew I knew. The silence between us changed instantly. No more pretending. No more guessing. Just truth sitting there, heavy and unavoidable. Then they smiled. Not wide. Not obvious. But enough to confirm everything. And in that moment, I understood something even worse than the betrayal itself. This wasn't the end of their plan. This was just the part where I finally became aware of it. Before I could move or speak, they took another step closer and said something that made my entire body go cold. They said I had no idea what they had already set in motion. And whatever I thought I had found upstairs was only the beginning. The words settled in the air, heavy and deliberate. Only the beginning. My mind pushed past the fear, forcing itself into focus. If this was only the beginning, then something bigger was already moving. Something outside this house. Something I couldn't see yet. I needed to slow this down. Keep them talking. I stepped off the last stair, careful, controlled, keeping distance between us. Their eyes followed every movement, sharp, observant, like they were measuring my reactions. Good. Let them think I was still catching up. I asked what they meant. Simple. Direct. No panic. For a brief second, something shifted in their expression. Not doubt. Interest. Like they were deciding how much to reveal. Then they moved toward the table and picked up something I hadn't noticed before. A folder. Thin, but packed. They opened it slowly, almost deliberately, then turned it toward me. Inside were documents. Printed messages. Emails. Financial records. All tied to my name. But not created by me. At first glance, they looked real. Detailed. Organized. Convincing. The kind of evidence that wouldn't just raise questions. It would destroy reputations. My chest tightened as I scanned the pages. Transactions I never made. Conversations I never had. Connections to people I didn't even recognize. Every piece carefully built to create a story. A dangerous one. I looked up, the realization hitting hard. This wasn't about watching me. This wasn't even about the house. This was about framing me. Completely. Their voice came again, calm, almost satisfied. They said by the end of the day, these would be in the right hands. Authorities. Employers. Anyone who mattered. They had timed everything. The messages. The setup. Even my arrival. My thoughts raced through every possible outcome. If this went out, I wouldn't just lose control of my life. I would lose everything tied to it. Before I could respond, something outside shifted. A sound. Voices. Faint, but growing. Their head turned slightly toward the door. For the first time, their control cracked. Just a fraction. But enough. I moved my gaze toward the window. The people outside hadn't left. They had grown. More voices now. More movement. And then I saw something that didn't fit. My neighbor, pushing through the crowd. Fast. Urgent. Looking straight at the house. At me. Then back at the person standing inside with me. That single look carried something clear. Warning. Not for me. For them. The tension snapped tighter as the person in front of me stepped back, their confidence shifting into calculation. Because whatever they had planned, something had just interrupted it. And for the first time since this started, they weren't the only one in control anymore. The shift in the room was instant. Control slipped from their side, not completely, but enough to change everything. Their eyes moved toward the door again, calculating, adjusting, trying to recover what had just been disrupted. My neighbor didn't slow down. He pushed the door open wider and stepped inside, breathing hard, eyes locked on the person in front of me. There was no confusion in his face. No hesitation. He already knew. That alone confirmed what I hadn't fully understood until now. This wasn't just my discovery. Someone else had seen pieces of it before me. The person standing across from me straightened, trying to regain composure, but it was too late. The calm confidence from moments ago had thinned, replaced by something tighter. Controlled, but strained. My neighbor stepped further in, his voice firm, cutting through the tension. He said it was over. Simple words. But they landed hard. For a brief second, silence filled the room again. Then everything moved fast. More footsteps outside. Multiple. Heavier this time. The person in front of me reacted instantly, turning toward the back hallway, calculating an exit. But they didn't get far. The door behind us opened again. Authorities stepped in. The room that had felt like a trap seconds ago flipped completely. Now it was closing in on them. Their movements stopped. Not by choice. By realization. There was nowhere left to go. As everything settled, the truth unfolded piece by piece. My neighbor had noticed unusual activity for days. People coming and going at odd hours. Subtle movements around my house when I wasn't home. He had tried to reach me earlier, but when I didn't respond fast enough, he called for help. He had seen enough to know something wasn't right. Just not enough to see how deep it went. Until now. The folder. The flash drive. The hidden cameras. Everything was collected, secured, undeniable. Every layer of the plan exposed under the same roof it had been built in. And then came the final moment. The person who had spent so long controlling everything finally lost control of their own expression. Not anger. Not fear. Something closer to collapse. Because the same precision they used to build this plan had now turned against them. Every detail. Every move. Every mistake. All of it pointed back to them. Directly. Clearly. And as they were taken away, one truth settled in stronger than anything else. This was never about chance. This was never random. This was betrayal built over time. Carefully. Patiently. And in the end, it didn't just fail. It destroyed the one who created it. Completely. Tell me in the comments that where are you watching this story from? Like this story and also subscribe to this channel for more interesting betrayal and revenge stories. See you in the next one.